everyone. It's been quite a long time. In fact, Vlad just looked it up. 2022 was the last time I listened to a Van Halen piece of music. And yes, I'm emphasizing that because back when I first did my first listen, I said Van Halen, and I got a lot of grief for that. Anyway, it's time to revisit them. Van Halen, Ain't Talkin' About Love. And, well, I've been fairly warned as Vlad handed me this jacket. So all I know is this little sentence I have on the stand here. Guitar World readers ranked Eddie Van Halen's guitar riff in the song as the 5th best metal riff of all time. So let's listen. Reminds me of Rachmaninoff. I gotta hear this again. Chromatic. Intense. A little bit angular. But there's a sort of warmth to it as well. I don't know what it is this morning. Maybe it's my mood. Maybe it's where my mind is, the music that's been going through my mind and that I've been working with the last while. But somehow today, when I hear this, it's true. I think Rachmaninoff. I think Rachmaninoff's big piano music. Flashy, fiery. It's like splashing water in a hot oil frying pan, and it has the sizzle and the edge, that sort of crackly explosiveness, but at the same time there is a very rich, warm core to it. And I don't think that I am just thinking of that because I have no reason to. Although I'm sure it's not the only association I might come up with on any given day. But that's what comes to me strongest today. And some of the reasons for it are, all right, that riff. Dum, 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 it is chromatic. Rachmaninoff is known for his chromaticism in his musical compositions. It's also very melodic. And Rachmaninoff has a lot of beautiful melodies in his music. Now, where it differs, Rachmaninoff is known for his rich, thick chords and particular type of chord voicing stuff that he does. I'm not going to dig into the technicalities of it, which of course is different because this is a whole different style of music here. Speaking of style, metal riff? I've heard some rock music that sounds more metallic than this to my ears. So I'm really curious to hear your views on whether this really truly ought to be classed as metal, or is it more just good old hard rock? So of course we don't have Rachmaninoff's lush chords, but instead we have this very strong blues element which is present here and which adds that sort of richness to the harmonic scheme. And we also have the tone of the voice and the guitar and the bass, all of which are, they each have a clear, strong tonal center, identifiable core pitch, but they're also very warm and full in their, shall I just say, their sonic package, the overall tone. It's like the difference between a thin metal wire versus a ragged strip of cloth versus let's say a piece of soft yarn, a little bit fuzzy, or a rope that's a bit thicker and stronger, has a little bit of roughness, but definitely a lot more to it. I would say this is more like your twisted rope voice and instrumental tone. I also appreciate the fact that even though it's really digging into this, and I think this is another reason that I am just so quickly associating it with someone like Rachmaninoff, and that is the dynamics. This is not a piece of music that has one volume at all. It's a very strong, powerful piece of music. In fact, let's back up just a little bit here for when we restart. But even within those strong portions of the music, there is a lot of variety volume-wise. Voice, guitar, drums, bass. There is a lot of up and down volume difference between the different notes. And even more than that, the shape of the phrases, and even more than that, the sections. And we're getting to a place where in the music where the overall dynamic shape was greatly diminished. It was kind of the difference between hiking the Rockies and moving down towards the foothills a little bit, a good deal lower, softer, warmer, little bit more gentle climate.
Just like I've told you before.
Here comes the guitar. I mean, that's really a beautifully singable line. Whatever the notes end up being, but something similar to that. And it's almost like it's growing, it's blossoming out of this one little phrase, which that phrase itself seems to be growing from this seed down here. And then listen to that.
Just like I've told you before.
Even more. really earthy sound.
Keep talking out loud. Just like I told you before. I've been to the edge. There I stood and looked down. You know I lost a lot of friends there.
You hear that bass down.
Got no time to mess around. So if you want it, got to breathe, boy, baby.
Bam! Big explosion.
Got to breathe, baby. You got to
Flute-like quality there.
Got to breathe, baby. Keep talking about love.
Back into this. Speaking of dynamics, isn't it interesting the way this quieter passage, although it's a rapid transition from the previous louder section to that quiet section, it doesn't feel like it comes unprepared. It doesn't feel like it comes abruptly, like it's a sort of slamming on the brakes or slamming the shades down change. It shifts quickly but smoothly into that smaller dynamic range right here.
I've been to the edge.
Really a nice transition, isn't it? I've been to the edge. And it's almost as if we feel the sudden chasm before us. Walking up, oh wow, it drops down. Everything is gone in front of us. There's this massive canyon. This is the edge. You feel it in the music.
Like I told you before, I've been to the edge. There I stood and looked down.
And you hear, I stood and looked down, and you hear that it's a long ways down before we get to the bottom where the instruments are. It's a long ways down, and it's so far down that it's small. It looks like, toys down there. But his voice is still up here on top.
There I stood and looked down.
Miniature down there. I lost a lot of friends. And now, and now this is really passionate here and emotionally explosive. And here we're back. Maybe we've moved away from the edge a bit, but we're back in this present.
Just like I told you before, keep talking about love. You wanna talk about love. You need to talk about love. He's gonna talk about love. You know.
It's like you just want to lean into the piano. Come on, give me some big chords. Thinking of Rachmaninoff. Drum sticks. Listen to that bass. Now, this is interesting. Okay, back up a little bit. So, this bass, da 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 dum, bum, da 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 dum. We've been doing this over and over and over, which is a descending line. Da 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 dum, bum, da. Now, here at the very end, it starts climbing upwards, and it's such a new thing, something that is so not what we've been hearing, that it really has a strong effect on the music. Listen.
Hey!
bass is going upwards. It's so interesting that that's how the song ends, with this kind of reverse direction. But actually, I noticed a bit before that came in, with all the hey, hey, hey. It felt like the mood of the piece had kind of brightened a bit. It's a rather heavy sounding piece, not really dark, but it's got some weight to it. And it felt like when we got to hey, 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 it was becoming a little bit more buoyant, a little bit more, I might even say, like some seed of hopefulness had come in. Hey, hey, hey. I don't know, hopefulness, excitement, eagerness, something like that. And so maybe it's not so surprising after all that this shape that the bass was playing, da 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 dum bum, moving down, as we get even closer to the end, past most of those hey, hey, heys, suddenly the bass itself turns around and starts to move upward as well, almost as if it's leaving us simply with the first glimmers of hope, or the first hint that perhaps it's not all quite so bad as we thought it was. Another funny thing that came to mind as I was listening, that section where it says, I've been to the edge, and I was enjoying that, and the whole musical effect and the way we felt ourselves coming right up to the edge, and the ground drops away from us there, the perspective of it all. I couldn't help but remember back to Close to the Edge and my first listen of that song. And it would be fun, and maybe I will go back to it and have this in mind as well. I'm not saying these two songs really have a close connection, but it's interesting that some of the same kind of sonic and musical effects showed up here with this statement, I've been to the edge, and then I stood and looked down. And I remember with Close to the Edge, some of the textural and musical sonic effects that were present in that song as well. Somehow I feel like there's some similarity. Perhaps it's not so much intentional or even linked in any way, other than simply it just happens to be a musical expression of a similar place, the edge, where things drop away and where we could fall, as it says here. And then I stood and looked down. I lost a lot of friends down there, a lot of friends there. So the idea that the edge is this dangerous place and right on the verge of tragedy and catastrophe, and even we ourselves, when we are that close to the edge, we're at incredible risk. So it was a lot of fun for me to experience that in this song, and then remember Close to the Edge, which I also listened to quite a long time ago. It's fascinating to me that this Van Halen piece has taken me to two rather interesting associations, musically speaking. Rachmaninoff on one hand, Yes on the other hand, both of them known for their musical complexity and design, both of them known for completely different stylistic approaches, but I think also both of them known for really solid musical design. So I guess that put Van Halen in certain company that is not a bad place to be. Altogether, an enjoyable first listen experience, and I'm going to have this riff kind of digging in my ears for the rest of the day. I'll see you soon.